Hello and merry meet. It's Rowan and it is Witchy Book Club. I'm a little late today, so hopefully if you were hanging around, you're here. I think the video pauses, but I'm gonna share for a quick second. I used to talk while I shared, but then I realized somebody told me it pauses. I'm gonna share a couple more. It pauses. I'm going to share a couple more. Well, welcome. And it is time for Witchy Book Club. This is an open panel. I do ask a few rules, and I'll probably say them a couple times as I see people jump in. It is a spiritual safe place, so I do have expectations that there will be no judgment, no name calling. And when my moderators get up, we will try to give you a verbal warning if we see anything that violates this spiritual safe place. And open panel, we are discussing, let me do this real quick. Okay, there we go. All right. We are discussing Spiral Dance by Starhawk. We are on chapter 10, which is initiation. And I got to put this back. I'm so used to like being facing the different direction. So we are discussing this book. We're doing a chapter a week. So we literally have, like, after today, we have 3 weeks left. And then, I didn't bring the other book in. We are doing Bryn's book on the goddess Nyx, and that will be for 2 weeks. And then we'll be going into another book. Oh, and yay, Bryn's here. So I will let Bryn actually introduce his book before we move on to Spiral Dance, but he's got to come up first. So, but yes, so we have 3 weeks left of the Spiral Dance, and then we're going to be doing Nyx, and Nyx will be split into 2 parts, and then I'll have the next book ready. Okay, there we go. Now it worked.
Oh, first I'm thinking like, TikTok, let me in, damn it.
Well, and I thought I hit invite. Maybe I didn't. I don't. You know what? It's TikTok. Who knows?
Yeah, TikTok. We're helping, not usually all the time.
Yes. So, Bryn, I forgot to grab your book because I have it in my big giant apartment that's 2 rooms. So in the other room, and I don't think we want to hear my husband talking to his friends and dropping a F-bomb every 2 seconds. Do you want to show the next book real quick so that everybody knows what book we're reading in 4 weeks?
Yes. So the book, Nyx, the primordial goddess with the cosmos sewn in her veil, is the name of the book. It is, simply put, it starts with the references of Nyx to the mythology, as well as it gets into like understanding her as an entity, how to approach her, and along those lines. Then it goes into like correspondences, alter space, and of course, just like my other, except Hell's book, she's the only one that doesn't have an evocational and closing prayer. It has in the book a invocational prayer, and then it has a closing prayer, and it's going to be split up between 2 weeks. The first half, which is kind of like more the informational, and the more, okay, we understand her. And then we go into the next week, which would be primarily all about correspondences and other specifics, like if you're going to be making a space for her and the whatnot.
Yes, so order your books now. They do print them. It's print to order, and it does take 5 days. So we're down to 4 weeks. So how you order is so simple. I could do it. Anybody can do it. Actually, I should have seen if my husband could do it, because if he could do it, anybody could do it. But just make sure you're following Brent. Go to his bio, hit his link tree, and it will take you to his books where you can order. And the next book is beautiful. So
Yep, this the shade of purple, the shade of indigo it came in. I mean,
Yeah.
I was blown away when they did my books that were in like black and white. But my first time having it be in color. Oh, I'm glad I chose color.
Yeah, it's actually kind of my favorite shade of purple. I love purple, so I
Ah,
was like,
planned, all planned.
it's like a bonus. So yes, that will be our book in 4 weeks. So I will actually, I've got to get a picture of it and then set it up on. I usually on Eventbrite, I set the book up so that people know to come and join there too. So I try to get followers wherever I have them to come and follow us and join us for Witchy Book Club. All right, it is a spiritual safe place. Again, we do ask that it is a no judge. It is a judgment-free zone, no name calling. Bren's a moderator, Azrael's a moderator, and myself. And we will try to verbally say, please do not, pick on people or name call or be judgmental before we mute you. But we will mute you if we need to. We've only had to do that a few times, so
Yeah, and in a way too. I think what was it like the last time I think it was this I think what was it like the last time I think it was this this coming Thursday. Well, like when I magically disappeared, I had something I had to take care of, but I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to remember who, but somebody was kind of like saying some things are kind of like not directly at me, but I kind of picked up on it like cupcake, honey bear. You're not slick.
Yeah, I was seeing that and I was like, who is this person talking to? So I wasn't sure who they were talking to and I wasn't sure if we needed to mute him, but we probably did.
Well, I don't know. If they come around again, I'm just gonna be like, oh, cupcake, easy.
Yeah. And if we need to, we'll remind people. And it is open panel. And how we do panel is I do ask that you are muted until it is your turn to talk and try not to talk over people, to take turns so that we can be a respectful panel. So there's like panels, and I don't know if you've seen this, Bren. Because like
Yeah.
I've seen panels where people talk over each other, and then you get like an occasional person who's screaming and yelling, and it's like I leave. Like I'm like, this is chaos. Like, how am I supposed to learn anything from this other than
Especially like when out in like when you have the rules set up and all that, and then out of nowhere, like somebody's explaining something, and then somebody comes out of left field saying, "Well, I think," shh, but I know it has to be this. Shh. Why are you shushing me? You'll have your turn in a moment.
I had noticed during COVID, because the place I had worked, there was no working from home until COVID happened.
Uh-huh.
And we did have a woman that would interrupt people all the time in meetings, and it made everybody upset because it's like she would constantly interrupt. When we then went home and were using whatever system that company used, I can't even remember. It was so much worse. Like I literally never said anything in meetings because everybody talked all over everybody. And I was just like, this is useless. Like, why are we even having this meeting? Like, what is this meeting about other than people talking over others? So, and that was supposed to be a work meeting and it was like, wow. So yeah, so we do want to make sure that everybody has like a safe space to share their thoughts. And, my opinion, Bren's opinion, sometimes we may believe in the same thing. And even if we disagree with the other person, we're very respectful about it. And, and I feel like I want everybody to be able to learn, and you don't have to take our opinions and our thoughts as word. Again, we're all learning, and being a spiritual safe place, being a spiritual book that we're talking about, we're also, spirituality is not written in stone. It's not substantial like a cup of water.
Yep.
So yeah. Bren, anything I missed that we should throw out?
Well, and even another thing I kind of like to even reflect on as well, like it's how am I going to put this without sounding like too over the top, like a meanie head? Some of the time, most of the time, I completely understand why somebody wants to be, I'm right. Well, that's cute, but what are you going to get for being right other than people just like, wow, okay. You just showed me to never listen or even invite you around to spaces like this ever again because you don't know how to have some, shut face.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give an example, friend, and maybe this. When I was in high school, one of my dear friends, I'm still friends with her. We grew up in the same religion. Well, I hung out with like the majority, I would say 90% of my friends had nothing to do with the religion that my parents had brought me up in. Um, and this one friend, she was in that religion, and we were all hanging around, goofing off. One of our friends was smoking a joint. Um, And she literally said to everybody, keep in mind, her and I are the only two in this religion. Everybody else, there's probably like 10 of us there. So, like, the other 8 weren't. And she literally said to everybody, I feel bad for you guys because none of you guys are going to heaven because you're not in our religion. And after that, no one wanted her around.
I don't
And
blame them.
yeah, and I had to like try to explain to her, well, that's pushing your beliefs on somebody and like judging them, and people don't like to be put in that situation. And yeah, actually, she really didn't hang out with us after that. Like, if I hung out with her, it was just me and her because no one had the patience or understanding for her brainwash. I mean, because I know she was brainwashed in the religion,
Oh, yeah.
but it was very sad. So we don't want that here. So as a matter of fact, that's usually who we mute, or is when people are trying to force their religious beliefs on us.
Yep.
Because it's okay to believe, but it's not okay to force someone to your thought process.
Yep, that's what I like to call someone being a he who fund. You better listen to me or you're going to go to hell.
Yeah. No, there is no hell.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right, we'll jump into the book. So again, I'm gonna like flip it so everybody can see. I'm so used to not having it on the mirror so you can read it. But Spiral Dance by Starhawk. We are on chapter 10, and chapter 10 is initiation. I'm going to kind of give a little brief summary, then ask the question, and we'll go that way. And then, again, it's open panel. So if you want to come up and even, like, it is nice to have opinions on these spiritual processes, because sometimes there's thoughts out there that we didn't think of. So in this, Starhawk talks about the journey symbolizes the transformative process that face our fears and our vulnerabilities. Like the goddess can confront unaliving, the goddess embraces mystery. So we have to face our fears, and this helps us to grow and experience rebirth in our own lives. So the question is, what does the journey of the goddess into the kingdom of the underworld symbolize in terms of our personal transformation?
Okay, so that question was, what was it again?
Sorry. What does the journey of the goddess into the underworld symbolize in terms of personal transformation?
Well, looking at hell, using hell as an example. Well, then again, I got to clarify the second hell, not the original hell, not the first one.
The goddess.
Yeah, yes, hell.
There we go.
The one that we're familiar with, the one that's the daughter of Angrboda and Loki. Well, with her, then again, it also depends on the variation you look at. But either way, she takes over the realm of Helheim, and now essentially, while being in Helheim, being given that full authority over the passed on, she has the capacity to rule it however she deems fit, because now that's her domain. But instead, the route that she goes with is the route of that of being a caretaker, one who is making it kind of like a giant soup kitchen. So, in a way, she goes from, then again, also depends on the tale you're looking at. The tale I like to go with is the one where you have, she essentially she's given the choice to either stay in, I believe it's Asgard or wherever the gods sit, and
That's
or
Asgard.
yeah, or she has to go down to Helheim because they needed somebody to take over for the previous Hel who retired. And Mimir's there all by himself, like, I can't do this forever. So Allfather Odin offers her that, and as soon as he offers Helheim, she goes, I'll take it. But you do realize that it's going to be a big, I know, I take it. Okay. And she takes that upon herself. So upon arrival, she makes the choice to take complete control of the whole entire area and immediately gets to work in making it have orchids of apples, orchid trees, and making it be just like a nice, comfy place for the passed on to reside in. And her having that full authority over the deceased, given by Odin, if she wanted to, she could be doing whatever the heck she wanted to do with anybody that's passed away. But she doesn't abuse that power. So for me, that shows that with her now descending into this underworld, she now has the, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? She now has the option to either rule with not with a sweep, but more of like a more compassionate, more easy going and understanding, and being able to accept anyone and everyone that comes in her care without bias. And she as well, I'm trying to find this right word. She becomes like essentially what it's like you're somebody giving care to a group of people that possibly could have just been seen like, well, they didn't leave, they didn't pass an honorable way, like in combat or what have you. But she accepts everybody and anybody as they are. So it's like that journey of being able to go within and understand that, well, at the end of the day, it's still me. This is just a part of me. And even though, yes, some of these people in my domain, they're not usually the most nicest people. They've committed a lot of disturbing acts. It still doesn't matter because they're still a passed on person. So I welcome them all in. If all that weaves that connected together.
I think that's a beautiful example, especially because Valhalla is for the warriors. So I think that's a very beautiful example.
And what's even funnier, this, and by technicality, of course, if Hel wanted to, when a Valkyrie takes an Aaron jar up to Valhalla, if she wanted to, she could tell him, drop it. But she doesn't do it. She doesn't abuse that power. She understands that if they're being taken up there, then that's just how it is. If somebody comes down to Helheim, she accepts them. So it's like she doesn't abuse that power that was given to her by Allfather. She understands it, it's there, but she doesn't use it to her advantage or her gain or just to mess with Allfather because she's more concerned about caretaking to those that she's in care of.
See, one thing that I feel is very fascinating is as I've studied different deities, even like Hades, Persephone, Hecate, the Morgan, Hell, like they accept and love everyone no matter what. So when you pass away and go to the underworld or the spirit realm, it's welcoming to all. It's like open arms. It's like, all right. And it's okay. Now all these things that were hidden to you while you had a physical body, now you have that knowledge. And what's really interesting is when we look at some of religions, like, okay, I'm going to just take the Bible, for example. Now, in the Old Testament, it's really an eye for an eye. So we're just going to throw the Old Testament out for right now. But when we're at the New Testament, it really talks about how God is supposed to be loving and loves everybody no matter what. So where did the interpretation come that if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell, and if you don't do this, you can't go to heaven? I mean, where did that, it's like, how did that interpretation come across? And this is why people sometimes have like that deep fear. Like I've met people they're so entwined into their religion but their religion will be like, well, you're going to be in purgatory because you did this. And so they're fearful of unaliving, where most people in the occult community are enjoying and living life to its fullest and will welcome with open arms going to the spirit realm. So, that's just something interesting, right, Bryn? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yep, and that's why, at least for me, I'm somebody that kind of operates from this perspective. The afterlife, how you believe it's going to be, is exactly how it's going to be. And here comes the big plot twist now. If, like, being associated with a certain faith or belief system, is that what you truly believe what it's going to be? Or is that somebody else's belief system being pushed upon you that you don't have that capacity to have your own perspective of what's there?
Why it's important to be our authentic self and not let other people control our thought processes. You know what we need to read after your book?
What?
The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis.
Oh,
I haven't read it in a while. We need to read that and dissect that.
Uh-huh.
One thing I know this is totally like veering away from our book, but one thing I love about C.S. Lewis is that, and I cannot remember the exact order, but I believe it was Protestant, atheist, Christian. If not, it was Christian, atheist, Protestant. But I love that because of the fact he had so many different religious views. And so, like, The Great Divorce I felt was, like, just mind-blowing. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be our book out right after. That's got to be. We need to have something to get our minds just, like, tripping out here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to pick up a copy next time I'm in Salt Lake because my copy is in 200 boxes in my warehouse. So, I know I won't be in a house fast enough because I miss my books. So I only kept 25 books out, and I'm like, oh, that's not enough books.
That's definitely not enough books.
No, it's not. And I realize some people maybe only own like 2 books. So. So the only thing I really want to add is that the goddess teaching us not to fear and the connection to the spirit realm. Again, everything opens up to us, so we actually learn the full truth. So I think that's like something really exciting that the goddess can guide us to.
Yep. And, well, especially with Hell's case, the way that she responds, like if you go towards her, she puts it right in front of your face saying, here's the stuff you're not looking at. Look at it. Face it. Get over it. But it's too much. That's cute. Get over it. Very, very direct, but not because of her just being cruel, because she chooses to. It's because she understands that if you come to terms with this now and accept it, the less pain you're going to be in long term. It's like ripping off the Band-Aid. Yep.
That's the joy of having Loki as a daddy.
Oh, I find it so funny. I find it so, like, kind of ironic because, at least in my experience, Hell and Loki, they are like they are completely on different ends of the spectrum in terms of like how they carry themselves. Loki is like unpredictable, like chaotic fun. Hell is like, can we just be serious for once, please? Okay, you want me to take place in Ragnarok? Do I have to? Can I just take care of my people, please? I have to choose? Fine, my dad, just because he's my dad, that's it. Now I'm going back to my realm.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and what would you do? Think about it. Like, how much are we like our parents? Like, we're so different. I'm very, like, out of all my siblings, well, me and the baby. So I'm the oldest and the baby of the family. We're the two that are like so totally different. As a matter of fact, even how we raised our kids is totally different. Like, we're really laid back, like, just don't go to jail, like,
Just don't get caught. Don't do something stupid and get caught because you're being deep doo doo. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like my brother literally like says to my nephew, "Did you do your homework?" "Okay, yeah, do whatever you want," you know? And even my nephew said to me, he goes, "You're my favorite aunt." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because you're just like, whatever, do whatever you want. If you want me to go grab you pizza," you know, because I'm like, what? But I'm an aunt, so it's different. But I guess my sister's a little more like, no, you need to do this and this. So, but yeah, I mean, how much are we like our parents? We're not. We usually like, well, first, we should be our authentic self. But second, sometimes like their flaws we don't want, right? And it's like our way of saying, I don't want that flaw.
Yep, it's like showing, okay, here's how I am, here's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna take that part, I'm not gonna take that part, I'm gonna take this one, ignore that one.
And it might not even be a flaw. I probably shouldn't have said the word flaw. Things that just did not resonate with us that we were like, I would do that different. All right. So the next section. So Starhawk talks about shedding your previous identity when you reach the spirit realm. And it leads you to rebirth and helps you get that deeper commitment. This is what like the initiation is what she's talking about. So she talks about the concept of initiation, how it relates to themes of rebirth and passing away. So Bren, how, in your thought process, what themes relate to the initiation of rebirth and unaliving? Well, unaliving and rebirth.
Well, when you, again, now we're going to take a look at this from a different angle, not literally kicking the bucket and then going into something new, but when you're going into the state of, well, initiation and having something having to be put to an end so something new to come in, that representation is, well, you're now going from the state prior to initiation, which again, it can even be something as simple as like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, you get initiated. Okay, now I'm in this practice. Now I have these expectations I have to follow. So when you're getting that initiation and say, let's see, I'm trying to think of a good example from my perspective, but like when I first began my first few steps with hell, I kind of learned real quick, and by real quick meaning that I didn't get much of a choice. She said, okay, so kid, since you're not doing anything on Saturday at all, which you know you're not, you're going to get off your tushy, you're going to go down to the cemetery, and I want you to go to a new site every single time you go and check in with it. And do that every week. Every week, new site, you attend to it, but then after when you attend to that one, you have to go to the one that was the previous week. So essentially, I went down there and began attending to quite a few before I had to relocate again. But that's kind of like that initiation, because before that, I didn't even do anything like that. Then after encountering her, it kind of was that initiation where I'm now expected to do that specific thing every Saturday. If that answers the question.
Yeah, that's beautiful, actually. You know, it's a very open question. So I was also thinking of it in a different concept that, like the seasons, we go through journeys in life, and they might be a month long, or they might be a year long, or 10 years long, where we literally go into that hibernation or the unaliving, and then we are reborn. We go on our new adventure in order to grow more. And you know, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like we grow more spiritually, which helps us with our emotions and physically, if we're open to it. Because I do know some people who aren't yet open to it. So and everybody's on their own path. And I also noticed as you go through the journey, through our cycle of life, that we have like little changes within ourselves. And then when you also think about initiation is related to unaliving and rebirth, I believe in reincarnation, and our past lives have a lot of influence, even with our present life. And so when we do have that time, which life are we thinking about? That becomes an even bigger, whoa, wait, I don't know. There was like a movie years ago, and I believe it was in the 80s. And it was, scissors were in this movie. Like the scissors were the theme.
No, why did I think Edward Scissorhands?
No, it wasn't Edward Scissorhands. It was another movie where somebody, like a couple had been, they were reincarnated in this life. And one of them had passed by being stabbed with scissors in a past life. And it was literally showing how your past life comes through. And I know somebody who in a past life they drowned, and they have a huge fear of water now, like a huge fear of water. Like they're one that they don't want to go on boats, they don't want to go swimming, and sometimes like our past lives can actually affect us. And so I think that like also can get into that initiation, because we start to embrace like those truths and that deeper commitment, because we have all the answers, because we've been to the spirit realm before, right? So we have the answers that are just hidden in our brain that we only use 10% of. I don't remember the name of that movie. I'll have to like Google it.
I can't even remember it either, and I was looking at.
Here, well, I've got my laptop up because I've got my questions on my movie. Let's see. I can kind of see who played in it, but oh, it's Passed Away Again, but it's DEAD again. Oh, it was 1991. Wow. Okay, it was Emma Thompson. Yeah, it's a pretty, like, yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty good. Sometimes when we get movies that like take spiritual themes, sometimes they don't quite get them right. Well, yeah, I mean, let's look at like The Craft or Charmed, or like they don't quite get how we do magic the same, but some of the concepts are similar.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like, we don't have a breakfast club of witches, okay?
Yes. Oh, that would be a fun movie. There we go. If it was accurate. No. All right. So, Starhawk uses the phrase underscores reality that growth she says, are you willing to suffer to learn? And that phrase underscores the reality of growth and enlightenment, because it talks about how sometimes we have to have discomfort and a challenge. But she highlights that we learn to be resilient and we learn to be courageous in our journeys for deeper understanding, and that brings us to a stronger spiritual development. So with that thought, with being initiated, how do you see initiation with the term, are you willing to suffer to learn?
As a wise quote said from the game Hellblade, only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods. Ooh, that's heavy.
That is heavy.
And I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
Okay, so here's like, even with that, and I can tell you, I went through a horrible trauma. All right. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. Most of us have gone through horrible traumas. And I know, oh gosh, so many people were like, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Well, when you're in the middle of the trauma, like that's the worst thing you can say to somebody. I literally, somebody, I'm like, and don't say that to me. But when we are going through a trauma, that's the suffering. And we can either embrace being a victim or we can embrace that trauma and become a survivor. Yeah, I don't know. Your thoughts with that?
Well, I say whichever somebody wishes to go with, that's up to them to decide if they want to go through it, acknowledge that, yep, I was a victim of that. Because the way that I catch it, it's like when somebody says something along the lines of like, well, don't have a victim mentality. How can you say to somebody who endured something so distraughting to tell them not to have that mentality? Have you gone through that? You haven't. So what do you say we put you through that, and then we'll tell you, don't you dare have that victim mentality. Don't you dare be thinking that.
Well,
Because
you have to also grow from it. And
yes, exactly.
If somebody's telling you that and you're still in the victim cycle,
Uh-huh.
that doesn't help. It's just like when people would tell me light at the end of the tunnel. I literally told a friend, like I usually never get mad, and I was like, and if you tell me that ever again, I'll never speak to you. Because it was like, I'm in the dark right now, and you know what? Like I'm in a dark place.
Yep, because
Way, you know,
in a way, I've been told somewhat the same thing too, and probably the one that I get the most annoyed with, like legitimately. Every time when I hear this, I purposefully have tried to hold on to that, and whenever something like something challenging or just too disturbing or just really intense for that same person who told me this thing gets into that state, I just say the same thing, and that is, stay positive. Things will get better. Legit. I say it exactly like that. And they're like, what? Well, what do you mean? That's not considerate. Oh, stop being negative. Just have some positive thoughts instead. And because that's, for me, when you are aware of somebody who has endured a really difficult hardship and trauma, instead of being plastic, like compassionate, I'm calling it plastic compassionate. Wait a minute. Wait, PC. PC pipe. Oh yeah, that's a chemical. Ha! Look at that, chemical positive. There we go. Anyway, being like that doesn't really help the person, and it just reveals that you're not genuine in your ability to be empathetic, and that's sometimes worse than just holding the space and not saying a word.
Yep. Yes, I completely 100% agree. One thing that I wish people had said to me was, what can I do to help you right now? How can I be of service to you in this time of need? And I've noticed I try, and I say try because sometimes, like, you know, I some people you can tell they just need that little space for themselves. But I've even, you know, I've said to like my significant other, I've said to him before, I've said, I know this is really hard. For us, we've kind of gone through the same thing. And so sometimes we have feelings brought up from some of our trauma. And I literally say to him, what can I do right now to help you? Like, what do you need from me for comfort, for love, for support? Like, I literally just ask, because it's like sometimes he wants a hug, sometimes he just wants to be left alone. And like, I don't want to be like hovering when he needs that time alone. Or, I mean, he's even walked up to me before. I can tell he's having like, he'll kind of be in that mood. So I'm like, all right, I'll give him his space. And then he'll be like, can you just give me a hug? You know, and so I felt for me myself, you know, sometimes it's hard to say, hey, I need a hug, or I just need a shoulder to cry on, or can you give me a tissue, you know, but just saying, what can I do for you now in this moment? a lot of people don't do like giving advice if there's a light at the end of the tunnel or be positive. I think those are like the worst things you can just say to somebody when they're actually in a lot of pain.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, if I was told there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I wouldn't be able to hold myself back. I would say, you keep that up, yeah, you'll be seeing the same light at the end of the tunnel too. And trust me, it's not going to be my light. It's going to be a light that's different. Go into the light.
Yes. 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 I was, oh my gosh. And I was like, why does everybody use that phrase? Like, and usually it was accompanied with be positive. But it was people who never gone through what I did.
Things will get better. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you find somebody who's gone through what you've gone through, it's so much easier because they're usually a lot more empathetic because they're like, oh, what can I do right now to help you? You know, they're the ones that are like literally using that question. And yeah, I've gone through, you know, sometimes like, I mean, you know, like recently somebody I know is going through something similar that I did like 30 years ago. And I said, really, you can tell me and I understand. Like, I understand. I walked in your shoes. Not quite there. I walked in one of your shoes, you know, not both of them, but one of them. But yeah, it's always, I think, just really important just to have that empathetic ear, like Bren's saying. Yeah, don't force positivity on people because sometimes if we're having a bad day, let us have the bad day. We have to get through it. But there we go. That was the phrase from Starhawk. Are you willing to suffer to learn? And, you know, we really do learn more when we go through those tragedies, not from the advice of others, but from walking that path that we're supposed to walk. Okay, so Starhawk talks about stripping away adornments, you know, shedding our social masks, our defenses, so that we can reveal our true selves. And talks about the necessity of being vulnerable in order to cross a threshold for deeper knowledge and connection to the energies of the entire universe. So, all right, Bryn, here's our question. How does removing that mask and becoming authentic help us through the initiation process?
Simple. Because as soon as you take the mask off, you got no BS attached to you. And you're able to go through a more seamless and more genuine way. Good example, I mean, probably for me, working alongside Hell, having a mask on with her, it doesn't work. It does not work. Trust me. Somehow, some way, she'll just know. You think I'm stupid, huh? You really think you're going to fool me saying, oh, I'm past that trauma? No, you're not. Because to be fully past it, only the person would be able to know. But the way that she is, at least my experience, when you come face to face with her, depending on, like, say, if you're going towards her to get like guidance on a certain thing, depending on what side of her is more visible or more darkened, one side more alive and one side more decayed, depending on which side is more apparent, that shows how you currently stand. So say if I go to her regarding, am I starting to become more confident in myself and being able to safeguard and protect myself? In that example, there would be still some of the darker aspects still visible, but not compared to the other lighter side. But now say, well, let's go to a deeper one. Am I completely able to withstand like any criticism coming from a significant other? I'm able to withstand that. Then most of the decayed side would be visible, because that's the side showing that you're going to have to be facing this part. And as much as that's the part of me that doesn't even want to go anywhere near that, because responding to significant other in a way, it doesn't feel right to me, but that's something I have to be able to do and understand when and how to do it, so that darker side's still up there instead of the lighter. And that gives a good general idea.
I love the example you brought up, because most deities, they don't want to see that mask. They want you to be vulnerable. They want you to be open. They want you to be authentic.
Mm-hmm. Especially the ones over the underworld and the deceased, because hell, I mean, like you try to BS her, she would just simply go, "Oh, yeah, you are stupid. Quit it."
Yeah. And honestly, when we embrace ourselves, when we embrace our authentic self, you will find more balance, like with your chakras, more balance in your body, mind, and spirit. And you're going to also find yourself being more happy. Like, and I can say this just from my experience, but that's what I personally found. And I actually tried it, because most kids, when they hit about like 12, 13, you want to be your authentic self. You don't want mom to pick your clothes out for you. You don't, you want to pick what book you want to read, not what the teacher's telling you to read. So you do try to break away and be your authentic self. And because you are still a kid, and depending upon how your parents raised you, or how they are raising you when you're still a minor, they may quash your authentic self. And yeah, and I mean, I raised my kids different. Like, I mean, there were times that, most parents would be like embarrassed to go out in public with how, like, I let my kids wear whatever they wanted. If that's what they wanted to wear, great. I picked their clothes out for them until they said, I don't like what you pick out for me. I said, well, then you need to go to the store with me and pick out your own clothes, But I remember very vividly, and I did it, I raised my kids that way because of the fact that the stuff my mother picked out for me to wear was stuff I would, like, even to this day, like, I hated most of the stuff that she picked for me. Like, it wasn't my style. I didn't like them. I remember sometimes like getting like horrid fabric that I hated. Like, oh my gosh, okay, keep in mind I was born a while ago, but she loved corduroy. You know how weird that feels? Like, I don't like the feel of corduroy. As a matter of fact, there were like some throw pillows we were looking, and my husband's like, oh, these are nice throw pillows. The minute I felt it, it was corduroy. And I was like, oh no, we're not, no, they're not coming.
Oh God. Oh, I can just feel the discomfort on my skin. Just
Right?
like get it off. Oh.
Just saying the word. Like, some people, if you say scratch your fingernails on a chalkboard, and they're like,
Oh.
like
Yep.
the word corduroy, that's my chalkboard.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's really important to be our authentic self, and to never control somebody. Even if it's down to the food they eat, or the clothes they wear, or the glasses they get, or whatever it is, you need to let people pick their theme. And I also say that because last time I got glasses, like, well, I picked these out. The woman was trying to, like, I'm not into like designer names. I don't really care. Like, that's like the last thing on my mind, right? She's trying to push to sell more expensive lenses. And she's like, oh, well, these are like whatever designer label, right? And I'm like, but I like these. And these were literally the cheapest. They're Ocean Pacific. And, I mean, like, that's a total surfer brand. But I'm like, I didn't care. This was what I liked. I liked the color, the color was me. And like, I think one was like Gucci. Maybe it wasn't even Gucci. I don't even think Gucci makes glasses, but I was like, no, like, even salespeople, like, just because they want to like get that profit. No, don't push.
Mm-hmm. It's like, Well, why, yes, I know this looks absolutely majestic, and this is designer brand, and it is all fancy woozy woo. Thinking, okay, let's make it simple. How much is the frame? How much is it just to have you hold, the lenses in place? Okay, that much? Kinkerdoodle, plenty. But what about these? They're in style. I don't care. Give me the ones I picked out. Well, but we also give me the bloody frames. Thank you.
That's almost exactly what was going. It was so hilarious. She was pushing, and then she's like, some of them were gold frames, and I am so not a gold girl. I don't. I'm like, okay, you know what? Are you not seeing how I'm dressed when I came in here? I mean, I got leggings and a Viking t-shirt on. Seriously? And not Minnesota Vikings. I'm talking like Vikings like watch out. Like we're gonna pillage and rage. You know? I'm like, why would you push gold designer glasses on me? So I can smelt them down and make teeth? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So I think it's really important that we are our authentic self, especially like Bren said. I mean, he nailed it, that the goddesses don't want to work with us if we're not being authentic. And welcome, spirit. Welcome, welcome. Yep, I had a great day. I don't know about you, Bren. Did you have a good day?
All you know is another day of existence.
Well, Spirit, we hope you had a good day. See, I've been exploring. They have like a path that walks along the Green River, and I've been exploring that, having a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm hoping to catch more wildlife, but I do have to get up a little earlier than I did. So, all right. Just kind of like looking. Okay, so she talks about initiation and initiation rituals within covens and how they're deep, they're mystical, and they're emotionally bonding, and it's a shared experience. That they're typically vows of secrecy and rites of passages. So it also binds members of covens together. So she does talk about this and covens. However, I do know a lot of people in the occult also are solitary and don't necessarily practice a structured, are not in a structured coven. So Bren, how would you explain initiation in that sacracy, whether it's in a coven or as a solitary?
Well, since I've never been into a coven, I got nothing on that one. But as a solitary, well, knowing where your ethical standings are at, knowing where you stand on certain things, and also how you go about things in your own unique way. Like, for an example, for me, what are the things I will not do? You cannot have me do it ever at all. Is go anywhere near where there's a cemetery, gravesite, or a space where there's somebody laid to rest at a spot. You cannot make me walk anywhere near there unless if I get permission from hell first. You can even drag me over there. I'm not even going to give it any attention. I'm not going to give it or interact with it because I haven't gotten that permission from her to even do anything yet. And that's that. And that's just a personal thing, and that's just how, for me, that's like my indirect way of having my initiation with hell, because the way that she is with the deceased, she is like, you make one wrong move, you're gonna be deaf, the best to put it. But it's knowing that standard and that expectation is there, and even though being consistent with it for years, it's still something that's just naturally what I do now. And even though I may have even gained like a rapport with her, even if I didn't ask one time, it still would bug me, like make me feel like I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. And that's like that initiation to an extent. But coven wise, I got nothing.
No, so I've kind of done a couple different. I had taken training to become a high priestess. I became a high priestess. Um, it was a little different because I've done classes where everybody's like in a Zoom or a Teams. So you do create a bond and you get to meet the people you're with. And so when I was trained as a high priestess, we went through this intensive program, but the teacher taught on YouTube lives that were private only for the students. But you didn't really get to know the students. And some people would there was like 3,000 people in there. And there were some people that really dominated conversations and their questions were always answered. And, some people felt different. It was a little different being online, having an initiation online. It's great to be able to have, but it is a little different because I don't know, the closest thing I can think of a bond was like my dance company. Because you are rehearsing with these people and dancing with these people, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, you create a very strong bond. But the bond that we do have with any deity that we work with, if we decide to work with deities, because I do know some people in the craft that don't work with any deities, you do create a bond. And I love your example, Bren, because there are certain things that, there are certain things that I do when I work with Sekhmet and certain things I do when I work with Morgan that I don't do with anybody else. And it is sacred to me and it is very special to me. So, so let's see. I think I saw, comment. Yes, I think covenants would be better mixing together. Yes, I think they are. Like Bren was saying, he likes to, he has his covenant with hell, and I have one with Sekhmet. So it is different. Not that online is bad. I'm not going to say that online is bad, but it is a lot better when it's in a group setting where you can have conversations back and forth versus where you're just listening to somebody and hoping that they see your question and answer it. So that makes a big difference. So that's really initiation. She did go into how they have an initiation ritual for the coven that she was in. So if you are creating a coven or within a coven, that's a really good thing to discuss with your coven. But yeah, that's the initiation chapter. So then we're moving on. Next week is chapter 11, which is moon rituals. So this is going to be fun. And we'll probably add a lot more because moon rituals is a very small chapter, but there's a lot to moon rituals outside of what Starhawk actually does share with us. So,
there's a lot more, especially from the Vedic side. Good Lord, Lanta.
You know what, Brent? Let's just start writing stuff down because we're just gonna, we'll kind of do this. Well, because it's literally only a couple pages long, so we're just gonna veer away from the discussion. So, yeah. So,
my good Lord.
No, hey, it's cool. We need to. So, in spirit, that's beautiful. It is good to have that online gives us opportunities that we wouldn't have. You know what? It really is because I have now met teachers all over the world that I've learned a lot about the occult that otherwise I would have only potentially maybe ran into their books. But yeah, I think the classes I get the most out of are the interactive ones that I can go on a Teams or a Zoom call where at question and answer, everybody kind of raises their hand and unmutes. What's really funny is I did notice, and I know I talked about this at the beginning, how in work environments, people are less courteous, but in the occult environment, when you're taking classes or attending online rituals and stuff, people are very respectful and they use the little hand thing. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just lucky that way. So, Spirit also said we have several, maybe I'm just lucky that way. So, Spirit also said we have several super mean, yes, we have a full lunar eclipse. We have a partial solar eclipse next month. We literally have new moon in Virgo twice. So we're because this year is 13 new moons. So most years we have either 13 full moons or 13 new moons or both. Every rare once in a while we only have 12. So it's been a while since we only had 12. But yeah, there's a lot. Like, we're finally out of Mercury in retrograde, even though that'll be back in November. Yeah, back in November. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. At least it's Virgo, because we do have our lunar eclipses in Pisces. So this is going to be, oh my gosh, Bren, is that going to be just like,
My have Saturn and Neptune drunk going back there. Oh, good lord! Damn it,
yeah,
Rahu again.
the energy this year has been whoa. I mean, it really, really has. Like, we've had all the retrogrades hitting at the same time. I we've just had like so much, but I was like going, oh gosh, we have Pisces in a full lunar eclipse. It's going to be a or I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a heavy full moon, very heavy full moon. So, yeah. And then, Virgo will be the solar eclipse. The second new moon in Virgo is the solar. So, yes, a lot happening in the cosmos. Which, Bren, your thoughts? I was thinking for spiritual panel, we start going over the zodiac briefly. So we go Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Go
Oh
through.
yes, those 12. Oh yeah, I like that idea.
So, yeah, I did too. And then after that, maybe we can do the 12 houses. That'll
Mm-hmm.
give us 24 weeks of fun.
On the
Okay,
first,
every
yes.
week with me and Bren is fun.
Yep. So yeah, I like that idea. I guess we'll start with the first one of the zodiac, Aries,
Yes.
obviously.
Yeah, so be thinking about Aries for Thursday. So
Yeah,
there you
that's
go,
funny because I
everybody.
already because the way that my brain is, it already has like everything like in a file cabinet in the head. Now it's just like pluck. Okay,
Hmm.
because all of the stuff that I know, I just retain it all.
Yeah, you're really like, I have it, but I'm at that point. Like, the older you get, like, I used to play Jeopardy like all the time, like when it was on, and I'd try to, and I'd get the questions right. Now I'm like, I know that answer. It's in there. Like, I need to like open my brain more. So I do have to look at notes sometimes, but so I do want to shout out everybody who's provided gifts to us. We've always appreciated, never expected, and thank you so much for the hearts. It's helped so much. I'd love to bump up in rank. But yes, so really exciting. Tuesday, we'll be talking about the Chariot card. And then as soon as we're done talking about the Chariot card, we're going to jump into one card readings. So think about a question you have, or we'll do a general reading, and you get a card from me and a card from Bren. And so that will be on Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Standard Time. And then we're going to do Aries on Thursday. And it will be open panel. So if you are familiar with the zodiac, you can jump up and talk about Aries. That will be at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then next week, we'll be doing chapter 11 on the moons in the spiral dance. So we literally, in 4 weeks, we will be starting the book Nyx, which Bren wrote. So please, please, please make sure you pick up your copy. Again, make sure you're following Bren. Then you go to bio, hit Linktree. It will take you right to his book. And it is beautiful. And I apologize I didn't grab it tonight. I will grab it. I'm just going to keep it right by my little holder for my phone so that I can actually hold it up on Tuesday, because I want to make sure everybody gets a copy of it for our book club.
Yes.
So, all right. Bren, any last words, thoughts?
Well, if one must be initiated, well, my best advice: make sure you got a good grip on your broomstick, because we don't want to have like what happened the last time somebody went out for Quidditch and fell off. There, and it was 2000, and that's how I got mine.
Yes, we have to be careful with those. The only thing that makes me really sad, I shouldn't even bring this up, is how Rawlings, her views on certain communities.
Yeah, and I mean that part. It makes you just want to say to her, you know, quite frankly, we really don't care about what you think about other people. Just shh, don't bring it up anymore. We don't want anything to do with your BS. But your book's good.
Right.
Your viewpoints, we might need to get, the brain reset stick a little bit. Bonk.
All we can do is, I mean, it's just like it breaks my heart when people are so prejudiced to different communities. It really, really does. It's just like, I mean, I have relatives that are Jewish, and there is, I think it was about last year at this time, a Jewish rabbi who's pretty renowned and well known actually attacked the pagan community, and I had a really hard time with it. I was like, wow, we're persecuted as much as your community is. If anything, we should be joining together than you attacking us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just I just think of the coexist stickers. Can't we just coexist? Can't we just coexist? Because everybody has something beautiful to share.
Yep. So simple. It's like, oh, you believe something different? Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm glad you're not like me. I'm glad we're not all like Stepford wives.
Yeah.
Oh, going
I think we're not on the same thing.
right? Yeah. So, but yes, beautiful, beautiful. All right, Bren, anything to say before we go? Like your
Nope.
goodbye?
Nope. Just keep a hold of your broomstick high and make sure you don't slam into it. Ah! Whoa!
Yep, hold on tight. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to try to go live on my lunch to kind of show part of the Bear River because the Bear River is so beautiful. Not sure I'll see much wildlife, but because, they like to come down at dawn and at dusk, but I will do my best to at least show you guys the river. And oh my gosh, there's little teeny fish, like I found a little spot where you can see the little baby rainbow trouts and cutthroats. And I'm literally like, they're that long. They're so cute. But yes, so I will try to do a couple lives this week, just randomly at lunchtime to show you guys nature. But other than that, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for all of the hearts and all of the gifts. We will be here on Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Tarot. As always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.